Hey everyone, Angelo here, Hollywood filmmaker, greatest screenwriter in the history of the world, recovering hobo, giving an update on the eviction situation in this apartment. I don't totally know what's going on. I know the court papers have been served, and it looks like if the landlord is that intent upon evicting, I guess all of us, we'd all have to go. If Frankie, guy I rent from, is being evicted for non-payment of rent for 3 months, for owing over $8,900. We're all going to be evicted. I'm not sure how quickly it's going to happen. I've started a very preliminary search. I want to stay in Koreatown. I guess Hollywood would be good too, because it would still be close to my job. But also, I want to be in a place that has a lot of walkable neighborhoods, dense businesses, people out. I want to be around a metro station, and Hollywood has several. I really want to stay around here because they got great little markets and stuff, and they got the halal store down the street, which although I haven't been to that in a little while, but Korean convenience stores, which actually I don't really go to there much either anymore. But occasionally I do need stuff that, like, they have all around here that's available. So they also have very cool, Wilshire Boulevard around here, so I can walk up and down there, ride a bike up and down there, and just enjoy it. But, anyways, want to try and stay in the neighborhood, and also it's got to be a fairly bikeable area, and I got to be close to my job. I don't have a car, so that I pretty much just assume I have to do that because I talked to Frankie yesterday. So here's the other thing that was going on. The girl who lived with us, who just she's a terrorist, basically, just terrorized us. I guess the story is I haven't. First of all, I haven't really seen her in a few months. Like, I've seen her occasionally with a rolling suitcase walking out. So apparently, she has stopped paying rent for a few months, which contributed to Frankie not paying the landlord. More on that later, because I was paying Frankie, and I understand that my two other roommates were as well. And she was being unreasonable and demanding her deposit back first, something like that. And she wasn't really living here, but she would occasionally come get a suitcase, more of her stuff, and leave. One day, a few days ago, she apparently stole one of my roommate's beers, which that's really low. He had some nice beers. I know I see him in the fridge, like flavored beers. Like, somebody mentioned White Claw. That's the name. I don't think that they're not White Claws, but like, I guess there's all these other brands. I've never seen them before. It used to be just piss swill tasting beers, and now there's all these like fruity flavors and sweet stuff that I see in the fridge. And I'm like, oh, that's low. You took his beer. Anyways, so Frankie changed the lock on the door so she couldn't get back in. And she got really mad about that. And then she came by. When was it? Was it the same day we got served the eviction papers? Yeah, Tuesday. So that was wild. So I get served at the door by a process server from court with eviction papers for Frankie. And that night, one of my roommates calls me and says, "Hey, the girl's outside. Don't let her in. We changed the locks because of her. She's trying to get in, and she's arguing with the property manager. And she's trying to get all the rest of her stuff out of her room." I had no idea how much she had left or not. I assumed she got everything. I didn't know what was left. So she was here for at least like 2 hours, I think. Occasionally banging on the door, ringing the doorbell like hundreds of times, like ding 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 ding, trying to annoy me. It didn't really annoy me because I'm like, good, you're miserable. I don't even wish misery. I'm just like, good, I'm witnessing you not terrorizing me for once, but you desperately trying to. And she had like a guy friend with her, and there may have been a girl with her too, because I heard a voice. Now here's the other thing: I heard a voice through the door, and I didn't respond. I didn't say anything. They knew I was home. I was the only one home. And I was like, oh crap! What if they're, what are they planning on doing? Are they planning on doing something, wild in here? And it sounded like a different girl's voice who said, "We're gonna call the police and say there's an emergency." It didn't sound like my ex-roommate's voice. And I'm like, oh crap, what are they gonna say? Like they're trying to get the police to uh, come out, potentially with their guns drawn and break in the door. Well, I was calling Frankie. I was like, dude, like, call the police, call the non-emergency number, tell him there's no emergency. She's trying to break in, all that. And he's meanwhile still on the phone with her, occasionally on his other phone, trying to talk to her. Eventually, I posted the video I posted the other day where I was at my window and I heard her out from the street yelling at Frankie on the phone, and also sounded like talking to, well, an ambulance pulled up, and that was when I was filming. There was an ambulance in front of the building. I'm like, oh my goodness, you're wasting emergency services. And I know that sounds kind of a corny thing to complain about, but that's so low. Forget the officialness of it, the illicit nature of it, whatever. You're just tricking people to like do your bullying for you, to break down the door for you. And Frankie was saying that she was telling emergency services that she saw smoke in the apartment or whatever. And Frankie's like, Angela, go to the balcony, yell to the police or whoever. There's no emergency here. I'm like, all right, go out to the balcony. Well, the ambulance had left. So I think, first of all, my ex-roommate is a terrible liar. Nobody bought it. Because I'm sure they looked up, they're like, all right, where's the smoke? What's going on? What's the emergency? And there's not much she could explain about that because she was the emergency. She kept trying to, hit the door sometimes. She kept complaining outside, but eventually I was like, oh, screw it. Like, just go to sleep. So, didn't sleep great Tuesday night. I was all right. But saw Frankie yesterday with my other roommates. They had gathered all her stuff. They basically said, we're going to put it outside the door so she cannot come in, because once she's in here, she's going to cause havoc as usual. There's nothing reasonable about what she's doing. I went out to Santa Monica last night, went to a cool event. I haven't been to Santa Monica in years. That was cool. Got to say, the bike infrastructure is non-existent. Riding metro bikes from here to the Expo in Vermont intersection, where the not only the metro bike share station is, but the Expo line metro is. You see how the road dominates. Like, it should be an elevated train most likely. But anyways, yeah, kind of dangerous riding a bike there, metro bike, although it was cool. When there was a red light, I got to filter past like 70 cars. So we need proper bike infrastructure. Seeing all the police out when I came back too, that was depressing. That was sad. I'm like, oh, so you all have millions of dollars to send out police here, but and they came on the train too, coming back, and 3 cops came on. I'm like, what is this? What are they suspecting someone of something? They're like, good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Please, everyone show your tap cards, your metro cards. I'm like, oh, come on. Like, this is such a low-level way of trying to, keep people from not being antisocial on the train or whatever, because ostensibly if you get people, what am I trying to think of the word? Evading the fare, getting on the train without paying, well, potentially it just means like they have some antisocial impulse, or they're acting out, or they don't regard the rules or whatever. In reality, it's just people, going about their lives. They have their own problems, whatever. Nobody was really bothering anyone. One guy was smoking. It was a little bit annoying, but I'm not against smoking. It just, or he was like vaping weed. But I was just like, it's a little, I don't even say pathetic in a way. I just said it, but I don't mean that. It's like, there's nothing to denigrate the person about. It's like they're going through what they're going through. But he got off and other people got off. I'm like, with the money they're paying the cops, like probably like $50 an hour to start, plus benefits, like for 1 hour's work, those 3 cops, you could have just bought everyone on the train tickets like probably a couple times over. So what's the point of this fare evasion? It's just so ridiculous. And you could feed people. You could do all kinds of stuff. You could redesign the streets to make them, safer, better lit, more bike friendly, safer for our health, asthma, cancer rates, crashes with all the car emissions and the car crashes. But anyways, okay, got off track on my little urbanist and cyclist transit rant and equity. So I was out. I didn't see what happened. I only know a little information about what happened. Basically, I guess they put her stuff outside and outside the door. And she was, and I was trying to talk to Frankie about what's going on with the eviction and stuff. Man, he was just He's like, oh, don't worry about it. He's like, I've got everything covered. Don't worry. These people are human. I'm like, yeah, these people are suing you for eviction. They're saying you owe $8,900, and you're saying how good you've been to them, and you made them tens of thousands of dollars. I'm like, come on, man. He's like, Angela, what narrative do you want me to say? I'm like, it's not about what I want. Just tell me what's going on. Anyway, so I'm just assuming I have to move. And all I know is apparently the cops came at some point. I guess she was flipping out because the ex-roommate was saying, where's my stuff? They don't have all my stuff. And all of that, I don't really know what else happened yet. I haven't heard the story yet. But eventually she left. I guess the cops calmed her down. Frankie said she was being really annoying, so he left. And one other roommate, I guess the property manager, or I guess not, I don't know, was dealing with her. And she got her stuff. Anyways, so, I mean, she's also got this little dresser here and cabinets. But one roommate said, yeah, apparently she said just keep it. Like, she just changed, and she's like, just keep it. It's fine, whatever. I don't know. I have no idea. But she may not be done. She may plan on coming back and potentially damaging the place, wreaking havoc. One of my roommates said he saw her sitting outside looking sad and looking messed up. I'm like, yeah, you're sad at yourself, probably realizing like you keep doing this to yourself. I'm sure this is how she's left other places because it works. Like, it's a behavior that works. You bully people enough, they'll generally do what you want. It just in this case, it didn't quite work out the way she wanted. But Frankie was saying there's other people in other units he runs in addition to the girl who weren't paying rent, and he was having to spot him. He had a 40-minute phone call with me at 4 a.m. when I was trying to get this info, and I had to be like, Frankie, I got to go to work. Just tell me what's going on. Be transparent. He's like, yeah, I was paying a little bit or something, but I didn't have the money, whatever. I'm like, what the hell? And he didn't tell us. So I was paying rent. The other guys were paying rent, and our money wasn't going to the landlord. So I don't even know if I'll have a chance of getting my deposit back, Frankie, because I'm like, if he doesn't have money, what am I going to do? I don't know. So that's kind of the situation as I understand it. Frankie has a few days still to reply in court, and it seems like his only option at that point would just be to drag it out. That's also what I heard coming from, sources from the building basically saying, yeah, we're done. Like, they were lenient on a lot of stuff. Neighbors had to move out because of the noise that we caused here. I didn't cause it. I mean, if I did, I did, but like I didn't. I'm just saying if I did, I'd be like, that doesn't make you a bad person necessarily, but I know, the other guys here, they would be loud sometimes. They'd play music loud, and also the girl was screaming. I don't know exactly which incident might have caused someone to move out, but I know people moved out. Or that's what they said, is people moved out because they couldn't take the noise. I'm like, come on, man, you freaking... So they were okay with that, basically, and lenient about us having the girl here terrorized everyone, but not with Frankie not paying. And I guess after the COVID tenant eviction protections expired on like April 1st, I think, that's when they started filing suit. So Frankie's confident. He's like, oh, the landlord's on the other side of the world. He's got to show up in court. I'm like, why can't he get a lawyer to show up in court? He's like, no, they can't. He can't do that. I'm like, well, then why would he sue? Like, if he has no chance of winning if you decide to fight it in court. So I don't know. You see how much it's devolving into just mush and nonsense. I've got the day off work. It's funny. I decided to take the days off work. I want to work on my writing. And also I was out late at Santa Monica, later than I should have been. And I rode the Metro bike back at like 10:30 at night, which was nicer because it was there was less traffic. But still, like, no bike infrastructure. And if it wasn't for no traffic, I don't know how some streets I could have gotten around. They're like big boulevards where there's no, like, I would have had to completely find some other side street, which are still pretty big, to get onto. It's like, we need bike infrastructure so people don't have to go into debt and they're in poverty just to pay for cars that they can barely afford. So, and be safe, all that stuff. So, I'm about to get to my writing, some other chores, taking care of stuff, and I'm just assuming I have to get out of here as quickly as possible. So we don't get the water cut off or the electricity or the locks changed on us, because I don't know what they're liable to do. I don't even know if it's possible we could do like a lease takeover, me and the other guys here, because the problem's not with us. Like, we have no say in it. It was Frankie not paying them. So it's not like they're necessarily going to be sympathetic to us or not sympathetic. It just, the issue is with Frankie and the money. That's it. Doesn't matter who everybody else is. If anyone else has tips, I know everyone's hard up for finding housing, so that's not exactly something people are going to be able to just offer. And I got to stop saying I was pretty good about it for a while. Got to keep busy today. And fortunately, I'm not really stressed about this. I'm just like, okay, there's extra work to be done. Get about it. I'm going to have to spend more money. So be it. That's what the money's there for. And stay healthy. Exercise, work out, eat right. I had a little extra protein this morning. I had this Catalina Crunch protein cereal. I was just craving it after all I did, like 30 miles of bike riding Sunday. And then yesterday, those Metro bikes are heavy too, so it's like harder to pedal them than my bike. I rode that, 4.5 miles each way, so at least 9 miles. So that was an extra workout as well. Anyway, so what I'm saying is I was craving the extra food, but not eating out really. I did eat out. Santa Monica had a delicious chicken sandwich with like honey glaze on it. But there you go. That's the situation. It helps. I don't need help in a way. It's just I get clarity from talking about it, from seeing it reflected off other people, their different points of view, the comments people have given. And that's what I've realized I value about talking to people. I realize don't want anything from anyone. Don't hope people like you. I just want to learn. I want to learn who they are, who they choose to be. And I see that's all we have, is just to learn about who each other is and see that reflected back to us, and let that help us learn about ourselves and learn what paths are available that are right in front of us that we didn't necessarily know are there. I'm going to be okay. I've been homeless before, so I'm like, of course I'll be okay. And I have YouTube, I have, connections with people. So I'll see. This could be the start. This is another adventure. And I was like, I'm kind of overdue for another crisis. I've been through so much lately in a way. Everybody has. And then there's people who are just in poverty, and it's just sad. And I was seeing that around me in the environment, especially going deeper into South LA. I mean, it's all around me here in Koreatown too. But just knowing, you can see it. People are struggling. The infrastructure is run down. It's not really adequate. It's not safe to get around physically, and mentally it strains you, it stresses you. And that's on top of when you don't have like well-lit, human-friendly streets. It's amenable to things like street crime and harassment, where places with better infrastructure, with better lighting, with better amenities tend to not attract that as much. And also you have the fact that with more people on the street, when they feel safer on the street, it kind of creates an effect where if people feel they're going to be witnessed doing something, it reflects back on them just how antisocial they're doing is. And I'm not saying it's immunity from street crime, but anyways, it does help decrease that and help people feel more supported and more open, and feel like people around them aren't their enemies or aren't people to be, taken advantage of, but are friends and are neighbors. So thinking about all that, I'm like, hey, I have a pretty good perspective on things. Got to get to writing. My arms were kind of sore today. I worked out. Anyways, workout schedule got kind of weird the last week, and been going at it hard. So that's where I'm at. Interesting stuff, huh? But I'm so glad I don't have a car. I've saved so much money from that. I'm so glad I've developed the routine I have. I've learned to just not eat out. I don't even crave sweets, really. The cereal was kind of sweet, but had no sugar in it. It was, I don't know what made it sweet. Not really that sweet, though. It was like the peanut butter version. Catalina Crunch, peanut butter and chocolate. But again, not that sweet. So I'm going to get going. Let me know what you think, everyone. Bye.